Children, and welcome back. Last class we stopped till Ctenophora, right? So we'll be starting with the phylum Platyhelminthes. Okay. Now let us take the general characters of phylum Platyhelminthes. You know they possess organ and organ system level of organization. Okay. And how about their symmetry? Platyhelminthes, so they are bilateral symmetry and triploblastic. Okay, and they are also acoelomate, which means they do not have any coelom or body cavity is. Now, where do they live? Most of them are aquatic, and many of the examples under Platyhelminthes are found as an endoparasite. Endoparasites means they are the organisms which live in the body of another living organisms and derive the nourishment from them. Okay, so they are called as endoparasites. Okay, right, and they have incomplete digestive system, which means incomplete means they have only one opening through which the excretion as well as it is the opening for the mouth as well as the anal opening for them, right? And also respiratory system is also absent. Children, these are endoparasites, so they absorb already digested food from the host, so there is no need of digestive system, or many other systems are also absent in them. Coming to reproduction, one of the examples, that is the planaria, possess a greater power of regeneration. What is regeneration, children? That is, if the body is cut into many pieces, from each of the pieces the full organism is regained. That is the process of regeneration, right? And they are hermaphrodite, which means both the male and the female sex organs are present in the same individual. Okay, and the fertilization is internal. Okay, and development is indirect, which means there is a larval stage. The eggs do not give directly rise to the adult. There is a larval stage in between, which so the development is indirect. And about the unique feature of these organisms, they are called as platyhelminthes, which means flatworms. That is, the body is dorsiventrally flattened. Dorsiventrally flattened. Okay, right. And excretion is by a special type of cells called flame cells. Flame cells. Okay, right. And they are endoparasites, so they have to get attached to the host body, isn't it? So these organisms have special hooks or suckers to hold on to the host body. Okay, children, and some of the examples of platyhelminthes are the tapeworm, which is a parasite in human beings, and liver fluke, which is a parasite in the sheep. Okay, and planaria is one more example, right? So these are the general characters at a glance. You can have a look at that. Okay, next, coming to phylum Aschelminthes, which means round worms, right? So as the name says, their body is rounded. In cross section you can find they are cylindrical or rounded in shape. Okay, coming to the general features, they possess organ system level of organization. Okay, and they have bilateral symmetry, they are triploblastic, and they possess what is called as pseudocoelom. Okay, pseudocoelomate. Can you name some examples of roundworms? Yes, hookworm, hookworm, our common roundworm, which is a parasite in human beings, in the intestine of human beings, right? And pinworms. Okay, right. These are some examples, and you know the worm which causes malaria, which is that? Sorry, elephantiasis. With the worm which causes elephantiasis. The worm's name is Wucheria bancrofti. Clear? That also belongs to the roundworm category. Now, what is their habit and habitat? Mostly they are aquatic and some are terrestrial also. They may be free living and most of them are parasitic to plants and animals. Unlike platyhelminthes, the roundworms are dioecious, which means the males and females are separate. Okay, and the females are longer than the males. Okay, and so they possess, as there are males and females, the reproduction is by sexual means. Okay, and the fertilization is internal and development is direct or indirect. In some cases it may be direct development, that is the eggs will directly give rise to the young ones, or there may be a larval stage in between. Okay, and the unique feature is that I already told you, that is their body is circular or cylindrical in nature. Okay, the excretion is by an excretory pore. Okay, and these are the general characters. You can, once again it is repeated, you can just have a go through of it. Next we move on to phylum Annelida. Annelidans are generally characterized by the presence of metameric segmentation. What is this metameric segmentation, children? That is, the whole of their body is made up of segments. Okay, segments which divides the body into small pieces, which are called as metameres, or which is called as metameric segmentation, or this is also called as rings or annuli. So the name Annelida. Okay, ringed or segmented worms, the names. Okay, give some examples of this phylum Annelida. Yeah, examples are the very common earthworm and leech. Okay, these are very the ones you know already. Coming to the general characters, they are triploblastic. They are coelomate organisms and bilaterally symmetrical also. Okay, they possess a digestive system which is complete, which means they have a mouth opening and an anus opening. And respiratory system is by cutaneous respiration. What do you mean by cutaneous respiration, children? Cutaneous means skin, through moist skin. Earthworms and all, they have moist skin, right? And they breathe through that. Some others have branchial gills, respiration through branchial gills. Okay, and the circulatory system is of open type. Open means, what is open type, children? That is, the blood does not flow into blood vessels. Blood just flows into the body organs and it is returned back to the heart. Okay, that's what is called as open circulatory system. Coming to reproduction, they possess or they reproduce by sexual means. And earthworms and leeches are monoecious, that is, both the sex organs are present in the same organism. Whereas nereis, another example of this annelidans are nereis, okay, which is dioecious, which means male and female is separate and the development is indirect. Okay, right. And how do these organisms move? Do they possess any legs or any other appendages? No. But Nereis do possess a leg-like structure which is called as parapodia. Okay, right. And this this earthworm and leeches have, these organisms possess muscles for their movement, both circular and longitudinal muscles for movement. See, though earthworms do not have legs, on the undersurface, that is on the ventral surface of earthworm, you can find very thin hair-like structures called as setae. Setae. Actually, this setae helps this earthworm in movement or locomotion to grip the soil while moving. Okay, and excretion is by special organs called as nephridia. It's a primitive form of nephrons in our case. Okay, and nervous system consists of a paired ganglion connected by lateral nerves to a double ventral nerve cord. That is a pair of ganglions. Ganglions are a collection of nervous tissue. Okay, right, and they are connected to a double ventral nerve cord. Now, these are the examples of phylum Annelida, that is earthworm, which is Ferritima, Postema, leech, Hirudinaria, and Nereis. Okay. Next is Arthropoda, phylum Arthropoda, which means joint-legged animals. Arthro means jointed, poda means legged animals, right? Okay, now coming to the general characters of these organisms, they are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, coelomate, and they possess organ system level of organization. So what is their habit and habitat? They are cosmopolitan, which means they are found in all places all around the world. Okay, and coming to the different kinds of systems, the digestive system is complete, starting from the mouth to the anus. And in different insects, different kinds of respiratory organs are present. Mostly the insects respire with the help of trachea, the tracheas or tracheal opening, which will lead to the tracheal branches or tracheal system inside their bodies, right? Some others have gills, gills and book lungs. These are the different respiratory organs in different kinds of insects, right? And the circulatory system is again of open type. And reproduction is by laying eggs or oviparous. Okay, and they are dioecious. There is separate male and female insects. Okay, and the fertilization is usually internal, and the development is mostly indirect. There is a larval stage, isn't it? Egg give rise to caterpillars. Caterpillars become into cocoon, and cocoon will give rise to the adult form. Okay, right. And they have jointed legs. Okay, and they have different segmentations of their body called as, or they are differentiated as a head, the thorax, and abdomen region. The head, thorax, and abdomen. And the body is covered by a very thick covering called as chitin, or in the case of crabs and shrimps and all, it is called as calcareous covering. Okay, and the head contains sensory organs like antennae, two big antennae, compound eyes, and balancing organs called as statocysts. Statocyst, which is the balancing organ, which are present on the head region. Okay, and and most of them possess 3 pairs of legs, jointed legs, and 2 pairs of wings for moving and just flying around. These are the various examples of different kinds of insects or arthropods. Okay, some of the economically important insects are the bees, the moths, and these vectors. Vectors are the different kinds of mosquitoes, the flies, which carry disease causing germs to us. And locust, which is a gregarious pest which destroys our crops. And living fossil, which is the limulus. Why it's called as living fossil, children? It has been found to have existed even 4,500 million years ago, and there is no change. It has not undergone any change for these so many years, millions of years. Okay, that's why it is considered as a living fossil. And these are the general characters at a glance. Next we go on to phylum Mollusca, which means soft-bodied animals. Okay. Now we will see the general characters. They possess organ system level of organization. They have bilateral symmetry, triploblastic, and coelomate organ. So coming to the habit and habitat, most of them are aquatic and few are terrestrial, and they possess all the organ system, children. They have complete digestive system. Respiration is by gills in the aquatic forms and pulmonary sacs in the case of terrestrial forms. And circulatory system is of open type. I need not again and again explain these things, children. These terms you already know that, right? And the reproduction is by they are dioecious. These organisms are dioecious, and reproduction is by oviparous. They are oviparous, and development is direct or indirect. The body is made up of head, visceral mass where the organs, everything is present, and a muscular foot. Okay, head contains antennae and eyes and other sensory, these tentacles. Okay, and most of the organisms belonging to mollusk possess either one shell or two shells. Okay, and respiration is by gills-like structures which are present on the gills-like structures. And between the shell and the visceral hump, where the visceral mass is located, you find a cavity or a membrane called as mantle cavity. What is that? Mantle cavity. And this is the one which secretes the slimy secretions, Children, as these organisms move, they leave a trail of the slimy secretions. So that is secreted by the mantle. Okay, and the mouth contains a rasping organ called as radula. Okay. The examples are the apple snail, which is Spila, the pearl oyster, cuttlefish, squid, octopuses, etc. These are the very common ones, you know that. That's why I'm saying these examples. Now coming to the last of the phylum Echinodermata, which means spiny skinned animals. Spiny skinned animals, right? Okay, coming to the general characters, they possess organ system level of organization. The organisms possess radial symmetry, and the larvae possess bilateral symmetry. This is shown here. Radial symmetry, and this shows bilateral symmetry. Clear? And they are triploblastic as well as coelomate organisms. These organisms are completely marine, very colorful organisms, completely living at the bottom of the oceans. They have a complete digestive system, that is mouth at the lower surface, ventral surface, and anus at the top, dorsal surface. And the circulatory system is of open type. The unique features of this phylum is the presence of a water vascular system, which helps in movement as well as food capturing as well as circulation of everything inside their body. So what is a unique feature? They have water vascular system, and they have an endoskeleton made up of calcareous ossicles. The entire animal is made up of an endoskeleton, which is made up of calcium or calcareous ossicles, right? And there is no excretory system. Excretory system is, excretion is done by the water vascular system. Okay, and these are some of the examples of echinoderms, which are the starfishes, sea cucumbers, the brittle star, sea cucumber, echinus. All these are the examples of echinodermata, and these are the general characters at a glance. Okay, right. Thank you all of you.